Greetings, Lewis. Welcome to another video. So I'm going to do a weekly report uh, involving the tier deck. I went to locals twice this week, and the deck has shown very significant success compared to the last time I played it. Uh, my overall record is 8-1. I played on Thursday and I played yesterday on Sunday. By the time I'm recording this video, the first tournament was 4 rounds. I finished X1, and the second tournament was 5 rounds, and I finished undefeated. Um, I'm going to show the ratios of the deck, and then I'll pretty much explain things that I did during the event, and the matchups that I faced, and stuff that pretty much are kind of helped me like bolster my victory with the deck, despite it being going first or second, and like very like key things that to take note of if you are to play a deck like this one. Without further ado, let's begin. Um, for the tier names, that didn't change. Like, you still play these four, and I'm still playing these two. That's it for the tier names. The Chizus, these three, that doesn't change either. For Lunalights, this is probably a mainstay. Like there's nothing I will change out of any of this at all. I think like these ratios are great. Triple Swamp, Beast, Falco, Cyberstein. That's it for the monsters. I wouldn't change anything from the from the monster lineup either. So far, so good. Triple Planet, Triple Tenki, Triple Goods. Everything is standard so far. Foolish, Terra. Those are the consistency cards. Triple Perfume. Yep. Wouldn't change those either. Triple Super Poly. This is my only board breaker card, if you want to call it that. Poly is an engine requirement. It's also a board breaking card. Like I'll explain it later, but like this thing got negated, baited, like stopped a lot, and yeah, I think this card was pretty much imperative to like why I was successful this past week. Tournament Scream. We we talked before about the general consensus whether or not you should keep playing this card. It was good. It was good. I liked it. Triple Soliac, Meta Noise, Serenade Dance, Trivia Karma. Thankfully, I did not break on these like too much. Like I opened Trivia Karma a bunch. I think I opened Serenade Dance like once or twice. But so overall, it's been good. Monsters, Cross Cheap, Sprint. No changes here. Redoer, Dugaris. One change that I did make was I took out Abyss Dweller and I put in Forstrix. This was a very welcome change. I made it 2 games, and the 2 games I did make this, it really helped bolster my combo. I needed a card to interrupt my opponent in one duel, and this also helped with that. So that's pretty much it. I'll explain more on why I'm playing this as I go with the locals report. uh, Bujinko Sushi, and Divine Arsenal Zeus. Those are the SICs. Fusions, standard, like Mud Dragon, Chimera, Garura, Winda, Roll Kalos. I upgraded it to Starlight. Um, Grapha, Stapelia, Exterio. No changes here. Um, I won't show my entire side deck just because one is oriented towards locals, and two, it's like the like yeah, like in the off chance of people who do play at my local sees this video, I don't want them to know everything I have. I will show cards that I did play in my side that were like very crucial. Like I'll show at least three of them. Like for example, I played Triple Thrust, Talents, and Evenly. This deck is a really good deck for cards like these if you go second, because you will. There are a lot of like one cards that will force interruptions on your opponent. But yeah, like these were good. Like I'm not playing three of everything, but like this was good. This was good. This was good. I mean, I don't think I need to explain evenly matched at this point. Um, but yeah, like I picked up Triple Thrust during Sneak Peek weekend because I had friends who were overhyping the card. Um, they were right. The card was good. Like it really helped me whenever I had to go second every games 2 or 3. Okay, so stuff to talk about. I'll start with the first tricks. The reason I cut Dweller is because at my locals, like, nobody is playing, like, outside of my one branded opponent on Thursday. I did not ever need a Dweller, like, at all. In the past week, all I've been facing was Sprite, Sword Soul, Flunderies, Salamangreat. I did face one Kashtira. I faced, like, I think that's it. In the week before, I faced Runic Naturia, which Dweller kind of helps against that deck to some extent. But you know, it's like, but if you end up resolving Dweller against Naturia Runic, that means they would let you resolve another card, and like at that point, like you're pretty much ahead of the game. But yeah, I haven't faced a lot of decks. I faced Labyrinth twice. I guess that's another deck that Dweller doesn't work against. Like, yeah, like I've pretty much been facing a lot of decks and locals that do not lose to Dweller. Nobody is playing my deck. Nobody's playing tier, so it's really refreshing, and it's really good to play a deck like tier because the really big targets and answers to your deck are no longer popular because of Kashtira's existence. And if that's all it takes, honestly, I'll trade the Kashtira matchup for everybody instead of everybody playing Bestials or playing Dweller or playing like Inscription or anti-graveyard cards. Where you know I'll easily take that trade. So like that's one thing to mention. One note that I will make is a lot of times whenever I went second, I opened the poly itself, and if I did not open poly, I opened fire formation, and alongside those two, I would open King of the Swamp. Uh, and one or two times I've opened like a tier name. Um, that's a really powerful thing for going second, because one thing that I've been doing a lot. I'll give you one example hand. Like one of my hands was this, and I had I think I had a planet. It was a planet, and my sixth card for turn. It was in either an Agido or a Tier Cash. Let's take this hand for example. Let's say you're going second. I went second against Sword Soul with this hand. My opponent had like Baron, the standard Baron Shijao trap. Um, so one thing I did was there was not poly in my hand. It was this, and I'm trying to remember what the sixth card was. There were hands with poly already involved, um, but let's just take any random card. Let's just take Cyberstein for example. So this was like one of my hands. One thing that I did a lot, and like people just let it go through. It's like I activate Feather Formation. They let it go through, and here's the reason this deck is not that bad going second. Um, you can break boards or like bait a lot of negates if you do something like this. So Fire Formation Tenki, you add Cross Sheep, I mean Black Sheep, add Poly, Perfume, bring back the Black Sheep. So this is already engraved, and at this point you activate Poly. If they do not negate or let this go, you fuse for these three, and you make Guardian Chimera. And it's pretty much game if that happens, because you're resolving Chimera to draw 2, you're resolving Agido to mill. You still have Planet, so you can Planet into Reinoheart, and King of the Swamp is already engraved, so you can Reinoheart, send back, then make like Rule Kalos or Grapha, and then Planet triggers, and then you get another pop. If they do stop the poly, what you end up doing there is like what my Sword Soul opponent did one time was he didn't use the Baron negate, he used Blackout, and he popped these two. At that point, you Perfume, dump Agido, search, Agido triggers, you mill. Perfume will grab you Tiger, and then you can activate Tiger. Tiger bring back Black Sheep. If they haven't Baron negated any of that, you're good. If they Baron negated some of that, you grab Planet, you activate Planet, you grab Planet, you go Planet into Sharon. Sharon is sent Swamp, mill 3, you haven't normal summoned yet, you normal Cyberstein, Cyberstein pay 5, you summon, and you just keep playing, and then you make Sprint with the Cyberstein, and then with Sprint you dump Merly, and that's another tier name that you can trigger. Like, it's really easy to like bait interruptions or like try to break boards with just your engine. So that's like things that people overlook when they play a deck like this. Obviously, not all the hands are the same. You won't always open poly, but um, but that's like one thing to note if you don't go first. And the reason why I didn't play too many board breakers in my deck. Like, and if you open Super Poly, I don't think I need to explain. Like, this is hands down my favorite board breaking card. This format, especially in a deck like this one, that's super fusion oriented. Um, something funny that happened one time. It was against Runic. The guy had Nat Beast and 3 sets. Uh, and I opened Super Poly King of the Swamp. I opened Super Poly King of the Swamp. So I set the Swamp, activated Super Poly, and I fused with his Naturia Beast and my King of the Swamp to make Exterio. And I pretty much won when that happened. Like, his all his back row is turned off. He didn't have anything to like hard negate this. Like his runic fountain will never resolve either. Yeah, that was crazy. That's something crazy that did happen in one game. So another reason why Exterior is good in the extra. I did open Planet Tenki a bit. For those who have seen previous videos of mine, that's pretty much like a really strong like opening hand, because those turn into Cheiron plus Yellow Martin, and then you do Cheiron, mill 3, Yellow Martin, add the Serenade Dance, and if you ended up dumping Perfume at one point, then you can Perfume, dump Dance. In the off chance you haven't drawn anything to dump, if you have another level 4, you can. And I did do this once or twice. I did Dugaris. Dugaris draw 2, dump the Serenade Dance, and then you have Serenade Dance as an extender. And if you are drawing to Perfume, it's like you're slow, you're roll balling the game. I did do that twice. There was one game against my sprite opponent. The guy had double cross, sprint, mannequin cat, gigantic. I had to bait his board, but after I did, I just summoned like I summoned Boojing at one point. Boojing killed his cat. I met Zeus. Zeus tried to break the board. He did not let the Zeus resolve. I linked away the Zeus with like a black sheep, and then I did sprint. He also negated that, and then I Martin bounced like the tiger. I made this with Cheiron. I tagged out. Like, it's super easy to like bait boards because you have like so many bombs. I have not faced Trap Tricks yet, but in theory you should be fine against that deck. Because if you open like a hand like the ones I explained that makes the Chimera lines, it's like, what are they gonna do? Like, the fusion material for Chimera can be fused even face down, so Floodgate Trap Hole doesn't work. Like, if we're talking like, for example, the black sheep you bring back, like, yeah, they can't stop that. If you summon the Chimera, you can chain block. And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, I could be wrong. I think Traptress Hole Nightmare has to like resolve directly to the effect of whatever you're trying to negate. So you can chain block the Chimera, and then they can't do like they can't nightmare you. if they floodgate trap hold your Chimera, you still resolve it and you still blow up the back row. You cannot target Guardian Chimera if Poly's in the grave, so they can't use the Delusion trap hole either. They can't. I faced a Sword Soul opponent. I faced 3 Sword Souls in total in the 2 locals I played in the past week. One of them tried to imperm this. They can't. Like, Poly's in the grave. And they pretty much lost the whole board because the set was imperm blackout. And they had Chi-Jiao on the board. And Chi-Jiao Baron. And I chain blocked this, so they couldn't Baron this. So yeah, like, there's not a lot I can explain. Like, my one loss this week was to Sprite. I did brick one game. I don't know if you want to call it a brick. My hand was like I went second. My hand was 2 planets, a perfume, a Merly. It was 2 planets, perfume, Merly. My only tier name was Merly. I remember that. I know it was these cards. Trying to remember. I think it was 2 perfumes. Like, my hand was 2 planets, 2 perfumes, Merly, and for turn I drew terraforming. So sucks to be me, I guess. I mean, he let the planet resolve. I grabbed Sharon. I tried Sharon, Millie, Merly, and tried to like YOLO the 3 mills. And if any of the mills were anything useful, I could have kept playing. Otherwise, I would make Garura summon planet, pop the Garura to draw a card and see if I get lucky. Because if I get to any Luna name, I have 2 perfumes. So I could just like snowball the game from there. But that didn't happen. So that was one game. That was like the only real brick I had the entire 2 tournaments. There was one game against Dinos. I did play against dinosaurs, now I remember. That was one duel game. And my hand, I opened Poly. Yellow Martin, Agido. And I think I opened Swamp as well. This was my hand. Now I remember, it was not Yellow Martin, it was Tier Cash. So I opened this. This was my hand going first. And this is another reason why Guardian Chimera is really good in your deck. It's like, you don't even have to resolve Chimera's effect for it to be good. You just need like the fusion materials. So I set the king on the swamp. I polyed. I made the Guardian Chimera. And with these 2, I milled 7. And out of the 7 cards I milled them early. And the Merly fused with the king of the swamp. I made Grapha. I also milled Serenade Dance, Banish, Trigger. And I just kept playing the game. There was one game that was really crazy because my hand was super weird as well. I think I opened a Merly. I think the hand was, it was Scream. I think it was Scream, Merly, Tier Cash, Stein. It was something like this. Like, it was something like this. I think I opened the Luna trap. I think it was something like this. I activated Scream. I banished the Merly for Tier Cash. I milled 6, and I milled both Abgido and Kelbeck. And I don't think I need to explain what happened after that. My Dino opponent was not happy about that. Um, but yeah, that was like a lot of rambling, a lot of theory, a lot of explanations like about the deck in general. Um, I don't think I'll change this main deck. I think it feels like the deck feels almost solved at this point. Like I could tinker around some ratios. I thought about like putting Zodiac to 2. I thought about playing Tier Cash at 3. I thought about playing a second Rhino Heart just because I picked up a second ulti from the OTS pack, and I kind of want to play it. But I think this deck is fine on normal summons. In case you didn't count, the main deck is 45 cards. But yeah, I hope you liked this discussion talk video. I guess one general conclusion that I will get to is that Tears is still a really powerful deck, and as long as people are not prepared for it, you should do well at events with Tier, just because, like, usually whenever we go into new formats, or whenever like a really powerful deck like moves away from the format, people like are way less prepared for it. So whenever they face something like that, you're pretty much guaranteed like get a lot of games. I did have one game against Sword Soul where my opponent took like 8 minutes just to read my cards because he was not familiar with the Lunalight cards. Like and he had Chijiao and Baron, and he kept asking what all my Luna cards did because he wanted to know when was the right time to interrupt me with them. And I pretty much told them straight out. Like I told them everything. I told them how Tiger works. I told them that whatever I bring is negated. I told them I even told them, and this is something like not many people know about. Like I even told them that Kaleido shit can recover polymerization back from grave if this gets popped, or uh, if this gets sent to a graveyard by a card effect. Like I even told them that, and that part I usually try to omit it unless they ask, because if you resolve poly going second, like Guardian Chimera is just way too dumb. It's like you're baiting too much interruptions. You like if you resolve Chimera, you pretty much should be able to win. So having a card that can recur poly in your deck is kind of important. But yeah, there is one other tier version I want to try out. If you saw my Shadow video, you should get an idea of what I'm talking about. But for now, I'll keep playing Luna tier until either I get bored of the deck, which this deck is super fun too. It's like honestly, it's one of the most funnest decks I've played in a long time. Either that happens or it gets to a point where like Bestials and Dweller and more common counters to the deck are more popular. Like until those two things happen, I'll probably keep playing this deck. Like I feel I have enough consistency with the deck. The deck does not have one card combos, but it doesn't need to because it has a lot of 2 card combos, and it like I won't deny it. It's pretty much a Saki deck right now. Like if you end up milling a Guido or Kelbeck, you slow roll you snowball your opponent. Like there will be games where this deck will feel like the old Ichizu tier deck just because of how lucky you got milling your cards. And I guess I'll whenever tier Ichizu was doing their stuff, like there's a reason why it was the best deck in the game. But yeah, that is it. It's been 30 minutes. Thanks for watching.